I graduated from college back in May of 2022, and while I've only been in the workforce for about 3 years, I've already learned some pretty important lessons from my job. And I have a few of them that have actually carried over into my personal life as well. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tyler Warlow, and I make videos on self-improvement topics. And in today's video, I figured I would talk to y'all about the 5 most important lessons that I've learned from my job that have actually impacted my life so far. If that sounds interesting to you, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Coming in at the number 1 spot is going to be that your success is up to you. A lot of people enter the workforce, myself included, expecting that they're going to get the best treatment out of anyone, that they're going to get the top training, that they're going to get promotions quickly, when in reality, that's just not really the case. Yes, you might be told that you're on the fast track or that you're going through this development program, but so are plenty of other people. You have to be able to set yourself apart from the rest of the crowd, and no one's just going to hand you that. You have to figure that out for yourself. I learned this pretty early on in my career due to having several jobs that took a sink or swim mentality. Essentially, they gave you very little training and they kind of just threw you out onto the job site, and it was like you're either gonna learn or you're not. And honestly, the ones that were most successful were the ones that did the work to try and figure everything out. Not only did they learn about their individual responsibilities, but they took the time and had the curiosity to actually learn about all the other different facets of the job as well. And the reason that this carried over into the rest of my life is it taught me that in life, no one really owes you anything either. You aren't entitled to a successful relationship. You aren't entitled to good friends or success in the various aspects of your life. It's up to you to determine what your priorities are and put in the work to see success. It's also on you to define what success is for you. Are you the type of person that wants to make millions of dollars in your life, or are you someone who wants to focus more on time freedom? Whatever that is, it's up to you to define it and then take the steps to actually move towards those goals. No one is going to do it for you. And if you don't take the steps, then you're kind of just going to be wherever you are in life. And a lot of people have a tendency to resign themselves to that and take on a victim mentality when they really shouldn't. Applying this lesson to the rest of my life has allowed me to have good health, maintain solid relationships with my friends and family, and have good personal finances. So anytime that you start thinking about how you want something, just remember, it's up to you and no one owes you anything. The next lesson that I was taught pretty early on was CYA, or cover your ass. In other words, when you are working in a workforce, especially under some sort of consulting position, you need to make sure that you've covered your butt. This means that you've sent emails, things are formally documented, and you never just trust the client to be on your side. You always want to make sure that you trust but verify things. I got bit by this a few times early on when I trusted someone to do solid work and then they didn't really do a good job, and it came around to bite me because ultimately I was responsible for them. This has then carried over into the rest of my life because it's taught me to do this in various different things, such as with buying cars or going online to try and get my bills canceled. My wife and I had a whole scenario where the internet provider that we had canceled with tried to continue charging us for like 6-7 months. And if it hadn't been for the fact that we had formally documented a lot of our correspondence through email and then through taking down the numbers of the different managers that we spoke to, we probably would have lost that money. But we were able to take it higher up and just keep fighting it and show them the email proof that we had done our due diligence and done the correct thing. This is going to apply to anything that's bigger in your life, such as a home purchase, a car purchase, anything like that. You want to take the time to do your research, do your due diligence, and make sure that you have thought about all the options. This is going to set you up excellently later on in life, because whenever you are making a decision, you're going to know that you're making the right one. And the next lesson that I learned was that things are just never personal. I've had a few situations throughout my career with either my boss or a coworker where things got a little tense and I wasn't quite sure how to handle the situation. Voices got raised or things were implied that just weren't necessarily true, and I kind of took it personally and got upset or angry. Now, I was smart enough not to immediately respond and to take some time to think about it and talk with other peers or mentors, and they quickly taught me that in business, things are just rarely personal. People all have their own responsibilities, and a lot of times people get stressed or frustrated or upset about the things that they are handling, and it can sometimes be taken out on coworkers. And ultimately, business is business. Sometimes hard decisions are gonna have to be made and they will affect you. And I know it's hard to handle that in the moment, but if you try to remember that it's not personal, it's going to make a large impact on your life, and this can carry forward into your life in a lot of ways. If you choose to take the mindset that things are not personal, it's going to result in a lot less frustration and annoyance in just your general day-to-day life. Let's say that you're on the highway and some idiot comes up and just absolutely cuts you off, almost causes you to get into a wreck. So obviously this ticks you off super bad and makes the rest of your drive home miserable. What you could choose to do instead, and a little trick that I personally learned, is just not take it personally and reframe it. Maybe that person wasn't driving crazily because they were just an idiot and being a jerk, but maybe they actually had somewhere that they had to be that was urgent. Maybe they needed to get to the hospital quickly. Maybe they were about to have a pretty major bathroom emergency. You never know. But if you choose to take that mindset that that individual wasn't specifically out to get you, it just results in a lot less misery and things staying with you for a lot less time. This has just led to more happiness in general in my day-to-day life, and I really think that if you try to apply this lesson to your own days, I think you'll find that they get a little bit easier. Next up is a rule that's a little bit similar to the first rule, and I can't stress enough, and that's going to be that you are your own biggest advocate. There's going to be no one else that is going to push for your success as hard as you are. The way that you see this in the workplace is that you want to bring examples of your wins, your successes to your boss and be able to clearly present to them how you've been doing your job well. Especially if you're trying to fight for something like a promotion. You want to be able to clearly show them, hey, this is what I've been doing well, and this is why I deserve a raise. And you don't want to let those things go. A lot of times managers will kind of let things fall to the wayside because they have a lot of their own other priorities. But it's up to you to really push and show that you want this or deserve this particular thing. And you're really going to be the main person who needs to drive that. If you're someone who struggles with this, I totally get that. When I was younger, I lacked a lot of confidence, and it caused me to not really take a lot of steps forward and promote myself. But I've been trying to do a little bit more each year to really acknowledge my wins and promote myself to people as someone who knows what he's talking about, who's a good person, and has seen success out of his life. This has not only given me more confidence, but it's also allowed people to see the things that I'm working on and be impressed by those. Most people aren't going to just hand you what you want. You have to earn that, and you have to push for that recognition. And no one is going to do that better than you. Now, this is another lesson that a lot of people who are coming straight out of college will likely struggle with, especially as they're trying to prove themselves to their peers or their bosses. And that's going to be that you need to learn to set boundaries. I know that it is tempting to just take on as much as possible, say yes to everything, but you need to be honest with yourself about the workload that you can handle and what you are willing to do. I want to be clear, I'm not saying that you shouldn't work hard, but I think it's up to the individual to understand what it is that they're willing to sacrifice and what it is that they're willing to do. Once you know what you are and are not willing to do, / what you are capable of doing, that's when you need to start setting boundaries. Once you reach whatever that workload is, that's when you start saying no to other opportunities. I used to be the type of person who said yes to everything. But unfortunately, this resulted in me being overloaded, me having to work a lot of extra hours, and then ultimately, because people knew that I would say yes to a lot, this kind of led to me being taken advantage of. People kept giving me more work and more responsibilities, but I didn't actually get anything from it. There was no recognition, there was no increase in pay, so I was kind of just being taken advantage of. Once you know what you're capable of handling, you need to stick with that and do it respectfully. But if you actually set these boundaries and you stick to them with people, that's also going to give them a level of respect for you, especially if you are consistent with it. This carries over into all aspects of life. I know a lot of people struggle with balancing their friendships and they have a tendency to overload themselves. I had some friends recently that pretty much had a social event on every single day of the week, and they did this for months before realizing that they were getting burnt out from doing it. If you're finding you are tired and exhausted after doing certain things, that's kind of your sign that you need to start setting more boundaries and doing things that more align with your energy, the time that you have, and what you actually want to do. But that's going to bring us to the end of today's video. Hopefully you found the information in it to be helpful or informative. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to join me along in this self-improvement journey. If you're interested in more videos like this one where I talk about career-related topics, be sure to check out this video right here where I talk about what to do if you didn't get the promotion. If you're more interested in my most recent stuff, be sure to check out this video right here. But until the next time, this is Tyler Warlow, signing off.